Stranger Things is without a doubt one of the best new shows today. I myself finished the 8 episodes in 2 days and was totally addicted to the show by the end of it. Here are 50 facts you didn't know about Stranger Things. 1. A second season is already confirmed and it will be a sequel. Season 2 will follow the same characters and introduce critical new ones. 2. There is a 30-page document exclusively about the Upside Down and explains what it all means, where the monster came from, and why there aren't more monsters. 3. The casting director auditioned 906 boys and 307 girls to find the young leads. 4. All the boys auditioned using scenes from the 80s classic, Stand By Me. 5. Gaten Matarazzo got hit by puberty so hard during filming that they weren't able to use his voice for additional dialogue recording after the production was finished. 6. Lucas requested to wear a camouflage bandana, which is why he can be seen wearing one in the last 3 episodes. 7. The kid actors formed a close bond before shooting began by forming a group text. 8. The young actors were also told to watch classic movies such as The Goonies and Poltergeist. 9. The writers watched those films as well, and also drew inspiration from The Thing, E.T., and A Nightmare on Elm Street. 10. Stranger Things is set in 1983. 11. Winona Ryder wanted her character's hair to be like Meryl Streep's in Silkwood. This is because both Stranger Things and Silkwood were set in 1983, and interestingly they share the common goal of trying to expose the truth. 12. Stephen King tweeted about Millie Bobby Brown, or Eleven, back in 2014 for her performance in Intruders. 13. When Millie was anxious about shaving her head for the show, the directors told her to have the mind frame of Charlize Theron in Mad Max. 14. If the title looks strangely familiar, it's because it was inspired by Richard Greenberg, the man behind titles such as Alien, Superman, The Goonies, and The Dead Zone. 15. Chief Hopper's trailer only cost the art department $1 to buy. 16. Dustin is mocked in the show for not having any front teeth, and he explains his condition as cleidocranial dysplasia, which has delayed the emergence of his front teeth. The interesting thing is that he actually has this condition in real life, and the show creators had to write into his character's background. 17. This was the first acting gig for the character in the show nobody seemed to care about, Barb. 18. The original plan was not to have Steve and Nancy get back together at the end of the season, but Joe Keery was so much more likable and charming than they had ever imagined, making it a fitting end. 19. Holly was played by 2 twins, Aniston and Tinsley Price, the same 2 girls who played Judith on The Walking Dead. 20. A lot of Holly's moments in the show were surprisingly unscripted. 21. The monster is a combination of animatronics, prosthetics, CG, and performance. 22. The toddlers on set were terrified by the monster, so the producers calmed them down by saying it was just like a creature from Monsters Inc. 23. Both Eleven and Jonathan are from the UK. Millie Bobby Brown was born in Spain to British parents, while Charlie has starred in a number of British shows and movies including Urban Grimshaw and the Shed Crew, Casualty, and DCI Banks. 24. The Duffer Brothers tested their idea for Stranger Things by putting together a fake trailer for the show, using clips from more than 25 movies. 25. Sean Levy directed chapters 3 and 4 of Stranger Things. He's also known for directing films like Night at the Museum, Date Night, and The Internship. 26. Millie Bobby Brown learned her American accent at a young age by watching movies on the Disney Channel. 27. The sensory deprivation tank took a lot of effort to put together. While Eleven was in the tank, she wore a radio earpiece under her helmet so the directors could give her instructions. In addition, the helmet weighed a whopping 75 pounds, but only 15 when submerged. 28. The makeshift sensory deprivation kiddie pool took over 1,200 pounds of Epsom salts to help Eleven float. 29. Winona Ryder and Matthew Modine have worked together before. They were both in the music video for the Roy Orbison song A Love So Beautiful way back in 1989. 30. Michael Stein and Kyle Dixon are the composers of the soundtrack and have written over 13 hours of music for Stranger Things. 31. They are also members of an Austin synth band called Survive, whose music was featured in The Guest, and they both quit their day jobs to work on the show. 32. Mike Wheeler, or Finn Wolfhard in real life, is a movie buff and wants to be a director one day. 33. Stranger Things was shot on the Red Dragon, but a layer of real film grain was applied to achieve a vintage look. 34. In just the first week after its July 15th release, Stranger Things became the most popular online digital original series in the US. 35. The soundtrack for Stranger Things is coming out soon. 36. The Duffer Brothers originally got their inspiration from the plot of Prisoners, the 2013 thriller in which Hugh Jackman searches for his missing daughter. 37. M. Night Shyamalan was a great mentor to the Duffer Brothers as they directed a few episodes of his sci-fi series Wayward Pines. 38. Stranger Things was rejected 15 to 20 times by various networks. Some executives thought it was a bad idea combining 4 child leads with a show that wasn't for kids. Just a heads up, these last facts will cover references to 70s and 80s movies in Stranger Things. 39. In episode 6, Jonathan gets into a fight with Steve and ends up kicking his ass. What's interesting about this scene are the parallels between it and the 1984 classic Karate Kid. This is seen when the cops approach the two teens and Tommy tries to get Jonathan off Steve by yelling that he's had enough.
Hey, he's had enough, man. I said he's had enough! Get him out. Hey, leave him alone, man. He's had enough. Shut up, Mommy. Look at his guts. He can't even stand up. So what? That don't mean squat. Johnny, leave him alone, man. He's had enough. Other side when he's had enough, man. What is wrong with you, Johnny? The enemy deserves no mercy. Right!
40. There are also a ton of similarities between Eleven and E.T. Although Eleven technically isn't an alien, they were both given a name by the people who found them, they both dressed up to disguise their true identity, they both levitated objects, and finally, the two only use their powers at critical moments to get out of bad situations. 41. The kids in Stranger Things and the members of the Goonies feel almost interchangeable. Lucas is Mouth with a cynical attitude, Mike and Mikey have the same personality traits, and Dustin is almost indistinguishable from Chunk. The bullies even force Dustin to show off his double-jointed arm, a clear reference to the Goonies.
First you gotta do the truffle shuffle. Come on! Do it! Come on! Do it!
42. In Poltergeist, the Freeling family communicates with Carol Ann through their TV, making it eerily similar to Joyce talking with Will through the telephone while he's in a different dimension. 43. In A Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy jumps into people's dreams and hunts them down, much like the Demogorgon does in a different dimension. One scene in particular that bears a ton of similarities to Stranger Things is when Nancy sets up booby traps around her house and ends up lighting Freddy on fire. But just like the Demogorgon, Freddy survives being burned alive. 44. This one may sort of be grasping at straws, but both the shark in Jaws and the Demogorgon respond to blood, especially blood in the water as we saw with Barb. 45 and 46. Movie posters for both The Evil Dead and The Thing were on the kids' walls. 47. In the movie Firestarter, based on the best-selling novel by Stephen King, a girl named Charlie develops superhuman powers and is taken away by a secret government agency who wishes to harness her abilities. Like with Stranger Things, a man gains the trust of Charlie in order to push her to complete tests, all while she's hooked up to brainwave monitors. 48. References to The Empire Strikes Back were present all throughout the series. Mike shows Eleven his Yoda toy, Eleven levitates the Millennium Falcon, and Dustin refers to Eleven as Lando when he believes that she's betrayed them. 49. If you've ever watched Alien before, the parallels should be obvious. The creatures in the movie take people and use their bodies as incubators, cover their faces with web-like slugs, and finally, the rescuers even wear hazmat suits. 50. Stand By Me follows the adventures of 4 young children as they deal with tragedy and loss, which ultimately strengthens their friendship, much like Stranger Things. The scene in which the 4 kids are walking along the train track is also a nod to Stand By Me. Alright guys, thanks for watching the video. Please leave a like, it really helps me out, and in the comments tell me what series you'd like to see facts on next. I was thinking of maybe doing Breaking Bad or maybe even The Office. I mean, that's one of my favorite all-time shows, and I think it'd be a lot of fun to revisit that. So yeah, tell me in the comments if you'd like to see that.